Lopez here, coming at you from LopezTheSing.com. And in this video, I'm going to talk about some investment mistakes and some ways that you can be much more productive and invest in yourself. And some of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make is when a lot of people come online, they want to get into e-commerce. Some people want to start a blog. Some people want to write a book. Some people want to do a lot of different things. But a lot of people have the wrong mindset when they come online, and I'm gonna tell you what I mean. See, a lot of people think, if a lot of people wait until they lose their job or when something drastic happens in their life before they really begin to do something or begin to earn money on the side outside of their job. See, I never approached a situation like that. I looked at it like this. If anything ever happens to me, if I ever lost my job, or if I become not physically able to do or function within the society, always wanted a second means of income for peace of mind. That's how I always approached it. Now you got a lot of people out here. They only do stuff when tragic or bad stuff happen to them. A lot of people are passive aggressive. They only do stuff when they lost their job or when they're about to get fired. That's when they become actively aggressive in doing something to better their life or keep whatever they have or earn extra money. I never approached it like that. I approach it like I'd rather stay ready than get ready. So I always looked at it like I just wanted to have my peace of mind because, if at one point when I was younger, this happened to me like 15 years ago. I remember I had a job, I was getting paid pretty decent money, and all of a sudden one day I lost everything I had. The place where I used to stay, I got evicted. The money that I had, $5,000 was stolen, and I lost my job. So within 1 week's time, I lost my job. I lost $5,000 was stolen, and I got evicted. And my car almost got repoed. The only reason that it didn't get repoed because of my parents. They paid one payment, and that's why I was able to keep it at the time. And see, I was at a dilemma with my car and the apartment at the time because I was kind of at a crossroad. Either I'll make my payment, keep my car, or I make my payment and pay rent and stay where I'm at. The only difference was at the time I was 2 months behind on rent, and I was almost 2 months behind on my car note. And see, at the time, this is how I was thinking at the time. I looked at it like I can move somewhere else, but it's gonna take me some time to get another car. And at the time, I was like, I have to be mobile. I have to be able to move around. If maybe I can stay here a little bit longer if I'm able to catch up with the previous month rent, but I won't be able to move around if I don't have a car. So what happened is I made a decision. I have to pay my car note, and I'll move somewhere else. And from that situation taught me a valuable lesson. And from that day forward, I said to myself, I'll never be like this ever again. I'll never be solely focused on one income. And from that day forward, I've always had at least two sources of income because I always wanted to have my peace of mind. I never wanted to be at a place where if something happened to me physically or I lost my job that I couldn't support myself. I never wanted to be a burden on my friends or my family. Even though I know some of them, they would do what they would do to help out. But I just didn't want to put the burden on anyone. I always wanted to be kind of a valuable person in my friend's life. So that's me. So from there, I always had more than one stream of income. And see, a lot of people think like if they go to a seminar, or go to a conference, or buy a book, buy a DVD, or join some membership site online, they think that they're going to be rich. They think that they're going to make their money 10 times. It could happen, but the odds are against it. I look at it like this. Whenever I spend hundreds of dollars or $50 or whenever I spend $500 or $1,000 to go to a seminar, I look at it like this. If I get one idea from that seminar or from that book, from that DVD, I'm good with that. I'm good. Because one idea can sometimes change everything I was doing previous. But a lot of people look at it like if I pay, well, first off, a lot of people can't even imagine paying $500 or $1,000 or $100 for very much of anything, especially if it's more than rent. Somebody I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said there's a seminar that costs $500 in his city, and he said he wanted to go, but he can't see himself paying $500 because that's rent. That's rent. That's his rent at the time. So I told him, man, I said most of the stuff I paid for, most of the places I've been, traveled, or most of the conferences I've attended, all of it was more than rent, or about the same. And you have to understand it. Sometimes what you have to understand too is if you're by yourself in your room putting stuff up online, and if you're the lonely drifter, if you have no friends, you're there's like a glass ceiling. You're only going to make but so much money if you're by yourself. If you want to make the big money, sometimes you have to pay to play. So what I mean is you have to pay to get in certain circles if you want to make the big money. Now, you can make the big money long term, and if you're by yourself, that happens. That happens with a lot of people. A lot of people have so much experience, and they understand, and they created an audience online or audience offline as well. They got a big, massive email list or address of people who they can contact and stay in touch with. They've probably been doing it for years. But if you want to get to where you want to get to much faster, I think it's worth it to pay the $500, $1,000, $2,000 and get around people that's doing better than you. See, a lot of people don't understand that, and it's a different mindset if you're coming from working the 9 to 5. And like I've always worked a 9 to 5 job up until the past 4 years. I've always worked a 9 to 5 job. I've always had more than one income. But what you have to understand is sometimes you got to pay to play. Sometimes you gotta make things easy on yourself. Spend the money, man. Look, you only live once, and you only need one idea, or you might meet one person in there at a conference that y'all can be partners. Y'all can cut deals. Y'all can do stuff together. Now, a lot of people think that if they go to the meetup groups in their local area, that's going to make a difference. But from my experience, meetup groups is okay, but it's probably not gonna take you where you really want to go. It's probably gonna take you a long time because meetup groups are free. And people don't see the value in anything that's free for the most part. That's why a lot of people will say they're going to go to the meetups, don't go. You know why? Because they didn't have to pay. But if someone paid to go to a conference, they'll go because they paid the money. You see what I'm saying? So when people when people people tend to pay, when people pay for stuff, they tend to take it much more serious. But if it's a free event or a free conference or something like that, people aren't going to take it real serious. They might show up just to hit on girls, hit on guys, or, that is, it's just not, people just don't take it serious. It's just a different environment. Plus, it's not really a learning, meetups is not really a learning environment for the most part. I'm not saying it's good, bad, or, indifferent or whatever. But I'm just saying, for the most part, meetup groups is just a nice way to, to introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and if you connect with somebody, that's cool. If not, you just keep it moving. But a conference, a seminar, and people are much more serious. They paid their money, they flew or drove or however they got there, got a hotel room, so they got pen and pad and got their computer and their books or a recording and whatever they got. So people are very attentive and they're serious and they're passionate about whatever they're doing or whatever they're trying to do. So whenever people pay money, people are very serious. It's not a game. So that's, those are just some things that I think you should know, and a lot of mistakes that I see a lot of people make. And one thing I would say is it doesn't happen. Nothing happens overnight. That's another thing. A lot of people, they kind of have a level of expectations that's so high, and sometimes it can be kind of irrational. A lot of people can be a little irrational when it comes to a lot of things, because a lot of people feel like if they pay the money, they should almost be guaranteed a ROI. And there's no guarantees. The only thing that's guaranteed in life is that you're gonna die. That's it. So it's. I think coming from the workforce, kind of jaded a lot of people. If coming from the workforce, that way of thinking, you're gonna have to leave that over there. If you come outside to the free enterprise world, it's kind of like it's just a different game. It's just a different way of doing things, just a different way of interacting, different way of doing almost anything you could have ever imagined. And if you want to learn how to promote and market whatever you have, and which is the most important thing, because if you haven't started a campaign, if you haven't placed an ad, if you haven't presented whatever you have to offer to an audience, or if you haven't put what you have in front of an audience, you haven't gotten started yet. Really, I'm just being honest. Because if marketing is everything. That's like the brain of every business, wherever you're at home or wherever you're in the cubicle at your job, or wherever you're at the cubicle in your company. If you're not marketing, you haven't really gotten started yet. So if you want to learn how to do that, go to digitalmarketingfast.com. That's digitalmarketingfast.com. And you can learn everything you need there. It's all there. It's like I've learned, the stuff that I've learned there, that's really helped me to make thousands of dollars online. I don't even remember how much money I made online. I really stopped counting. But I made so much money online over the past 10, 15 years. And I was telling somebody a couple of days ago, if it wasn't for the internet, I don't know where I would be. I mean, the internet really saved my life, because more than likely, I would have been doing something stupid. I would have made a mistake, or I would have done something that probably would have I probably would end up getting caught in it and end up in some legal problem and end up in jail or something like that. So the internet has given me options to do a lot of things, and I'm glad I stumbled into it 15 years ago. You know, this just didn't happen overnight for me. It doesn't happen overnight for anybody. Anybody that you see that's already established online and offline, just know that they probably been going at it for at least 10 years, at least in most cases. And for the first 5 years, they probably didn't get no results. You know, so this is a long-term game, really. But in the if I approach you and say, hey, if you do this, this, and that over the next 5 years, would you do it? Most people wouldn't, and the reason why they wouldn't is because they can't see the vision. They can't see what would happen long term. But if I approach you and say, hey, if you do this, that, and that, and this is what you're gonna have, if I have like an image of you doing or being somewhere that you want to be, you would do it because you can see it. You know what I'm saying? You can see it. But that's why most people don't really do anything because they can't see the vision. So, it is what it is, So if you want to learn how to do that, everything I just talked about, go to digitalmarketingfast.com. So if you like this video, share it, subscribe to my channel, check out my blog, lopezhussein.com. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.